Chapter 9: The Future of the Polar Bear. Learning Objectives. 1. Awareness of sustainability and the damage to animals and the environment. 2. Learn about endangered species and the natural environment. Warm up. What are the life lessons that you can learn from animals? Match the animals with the characters given in the box and fill in the blanks. The first one is done for you. Moving through life with confidence and elegance, excellent camouflage, power, intelligence, success takes patience, perseverance. Qualities of animals. Success takes patience. Life lesson I learned from them. If I have patience, I can calmly solve my problems. Mary Green is a renowned author of children's stories, poetry and educational books above age range. As an established educational author, she has written many books for the primary and secondary sectors. She has a solid plot and maintains steady pacing throughout the book. Mary Green is highly remembered for Regency-era enthusiasm. An endangered species is a species that may become extinct in the near future. If we keep a close look on our history, we can find millions of species disappeared from Earth. The more species disappear, the more entire ecosystems become vulnerable and would eventually really fall apart as the links in the food chains become violated. Let's read about such a species that is in threat of extinction. The lion, the tiger, the elephant and the polar bear. Everyone has heard of them, even little children, and we assume these animals will always be with us. Yet each one is endangered species. The Bali tiger has already become extinct. Other species of tiger along with the Indian elephant are at high risk, and the lion, African elephant and polar bear are vulnerable. There are many reasons for this state of affairs. Land development, whether through farming industry or the growth of communities, alters or destroys an animal's natural habitat, as does climate change. Poaching for animal parts can dramatically reduce the number of species, such as tusk ivory in the case of the elephant. Any exploitation of the Earth's natural resources has its effects. The polar bear is being directly affected by climate change. The Arctic Circle and the surrounding land and seas are its habitat. To understand why it is threatened, we need to know how it has adapted. It is a close relative of the brown bear, but it has adjusted to live in extreme conditions. It can accommodate to freezing temperatures, move across ice and snow, and swim in Arctic waters. Its main source of food is seal, which it hunts from ice floes. Seal, which it travels across to reach its prey and also to breed, is crucial to its survival. The ice sheets are shrinking. Since 1950, the summer thickness of the ice has decreased radically, and it is thought that by 2050, there may be no summer ice. Polar bears can swim for many miles, but as the ice decreases, the distances become too great. If the bear cannot hunt sufficiently, it cannot build up fat reserves to see it through the winter. Hence, it starves. The bear also depends on snow caves, called maternity dens, to rear its young. These occur in thick snow drifts and provide protection and warmth. However, rising temperatures mean that the dens can collapse. Dens are also threatened by the oil industry. Apart from the dangers of pollution, the search of oil can disrupt the bears' breeding grounds. This might result in female bears leaving their dens early, which may lead to the death of the young ones. The indigenous people of the Arctic are threatened by climate change too. Their culture has evolved to deal with extreme conditions. Like the polar bear, they hunt seal and are affected by thinning ice. The bear is also part of their culture and history. There are many folk tales and spiritual beliefs that reveal how closely their lives are entwined. And the polar bear's decline is also a warning for those who care about the survival of the indigenous people of the Arctic region. Can the polar bear survive? No one knows. Some believe they might adapt to become a land species hunting for different food. But if so, would there be sufficient food available? The polar bear would be competing with the other animals, including other bears, and if they did adapt, they might also mate with other bear species, such as the brown bear, in which case would they still be polar bears? Mary Green. Find meaning. Endangered, seriously at the risk of extinction. Extinct, no longer in existence. Indigenous, native, originating or occurring naturally in a particular place. Exercises. Creative expression. Tell your story. Work in small groups, no more than 4, to discuss the following questions. 1. In what way do humans always affect the environment and wildlife? Write your notes in the table. Animal, human action, effect. 2. How can we successfully cohabit with wildlife? Appoint a recorder to note the points and a reporter to report your discussion to another group. Cross-curricular connect. Learning by doing. With the help of the internet, find out about any extinct animal. Fill up the fact file about the same. My extinct animal research. My extinct animal name. Category: mammal, amphibian, fish, bird, insect. Fact sheet: height, weight, color. It has feathers, scales, shell or skin. Predators, lifespan, diet, habitat. Fun fact about my extinct animal: critical thinking. Let's play a game. Fill in the grid with each of the extinct animals mentioned in the picture. Logical thinking. Some people love teasing animals. Others consider it a wrong deed. Which kind of person are you? Discuss in the class. Exercise time. Write the answers of the following questions. 1. Which type of tiger is already extinct? Which type of elephant is at high risk of extinction? Answer. The Bali tiger is already become extinct. The Indian elephant are at high risk of extinction. 2. Which animal apart from the polar bear are vulnerable? Answer. Apart from the polar bear, the African elephants are vulnerable. 3. Name any 2 ways through which land development endangers animals. Answer. An endangered species is a species that is very likely to become extinct in the near future. Either worldwide or in a particular political jurisdiction, endangered species may be at risk due to factors such as habitat loss, poaching, and invasive species. Many nations have laws that protect conservation-reliant species, which, for example, forbid hunting, restrict land development, or create protected areas. Some endangered species are the target of some extensive conservation efforts such as captive breeding and habitat restoration. Number 4. Where can the polar bear be found? Answer. The polar bear be found in the Arctic and on ice-covered water. Number 5. What is the polar bear's main food? Answer. The polar bear main food is seal. 6. What are snow caves used for? Answer. Snow caves. A snow cave is a temporary shelter dug into the snow to help protect winter campers from wind and cold temperatures. Snow caves are used by winter survivalists to prevent exposures and are also an excellent shelter for winter camping trips and are a fun recreational outdoor adventure. 7. What is the main difference between the polar bear and the brown bear? Answer. Polar bears are excellent swimmers, but brown bears cannot swim. Brown bears possesses sharper and longer claws for digging and killing prey. Polar bears have a firmer grip for walking on ice. Grizzlies possesses elongated legs and ears than those of polar bears. 8. What do you think is the most important reason for the threat to the polar bear? Answer. The loss of sea ice habitat from climate change is the biggest threat to the survival of polar bears. Find their meanings. 1. threatened, to seem likely to do something unpleasant. 2. Snowdrifts, a deep pile of snow that has been made by the wind. 3. Shrinking, to become smaller or make something smaller. 4. Thinning ice, they are doing something risky which may have serious unpleasant consequences. 5. Poaching, to cook food, especially fish or eggs, gently in a small amount of liquid. 6. Exploitation, the act of selfishly taking advantage of someone or a group of people in order to profit from them or otherwise benefit own self. Fill in the blanks. 1. The narrator talks about polar bear. 2. Bali tiger is an extinct animal. 3. In 2050 there would be no summer ice. 4. The indigenous people of Arctic are threatened by the climate change too. 5. Some believe that they might adopt to be a land species. Match the following: polar bear, endangered; tiger, endangered; Bali tiger, extinct; leather turtle, endangered; panda, endangered; lion, endangered. Take the right options. 1. The polar bear is directly being affected by 1. Acid rain, 2. Flood, 3. Climate change. Answer 3. Climate change. 2. The summer thickness of the ice has decreased radically since 1. 1940, 2. 1950, 3. 1960. Answer 2. 1950. 3. There may be no summer ice by 1. 2025, 2. 2050, 3. 2080. Answer 2. 2050. 4. Which of the following can disrupt the bear's breeding grounds? 1. The search for mines. 2. The search for food. 3. The search for oil. Answer 3. The search for oil. Conceptual understanding. Tell your story. Think and answer. 1. Do you think that the public would be shocked to hear how many animals are on the endangered list? Why or why not? 2. What do you think is the attitude of indigenous people towards the polar bear? 3. In what sense might polar bears survive but will no longer remain as polar bears? Communication. Writing skills. Write an account about animals that are at risk of extinction. Reading skills. Read the poem thoroughly and bring out the theme of the poem. Work in pairs and discuss the theme with your partner in the class. If I was a polar bear in Antarctica, I would snuggle in my fur. I would wait until my cubs come out. I would teach them with their paws how to swim, catch food, and grip to stay with me. I would make them big until they hunt for themselves, until they get their babies. Listening and speaking skills. Listen to the text and answer the following questions. 1. Who is being directly affected by climate change? 2. Name the habitats of the polar bear. 3. What do we need to know to understand why it is threatened? 4. How are the polar bears adapted themselves in extreme conditions? 5. Which is the main source of food of the polar bear? Polar bears are classified as marine mammals. They can swim constantly for days at a time. 2/3 of the world's polar bears could be extinct by 2050 if greenhouse gas fueled global warming keeps melting their Arctic sea ice habitat. Polar bears feed primarily on ringed seals but will also eat bearded seals, harped seals, hooded and harbor seals when available. Let's learn spellings. A. Using un, in, or dis to inform the antonyms of the following words. For example, happy, unhappy. 1. Important, unimportant. 2. Complete, incomplete. 3. Agreement, disagreement. 4. Enthusiastic, unenthusiastic. 5. Sufficient, insufficient. 6. Common, uncommon. 7. Satisfactory, unsatisfactory. 8. Satisfied, unsatisfied. 9. Similar, dissimilar. 10. Natural, unnatural. 11. Frequent, infrequent. 12. Accurate, inaccurate. B. Use the prefixes provided below to form antonyms of the following words: dis, ill, im, in, ir, miss, un. 1. Mask, unmask. 2. Mobile, immobile. 3. Fortune, misfortune. 4. Bar, disbar. 5. Relevant, irrelevant. 6. Legible, illegible. 7. Fertile, infertile. 8. Mortal, immortal. 9. Regular, irregular. 10. Associate, unassociate. 11. Acceptable, unacceptable. 12. Lead, mislead. 13. Reversible, irreversible. 14. Concern, unconcerned. Let's learn grammar. The colon is a punctuation mark that is used in a dialogue to show the words spoken by someone. Quotation marks are not needed in a dialogue. See the following example. Rohit, why is the sea ice crucial for polar bears? Raj, it is needed for hunting and breeding. In order to make a conversation sound natural, use question marks and exclamation marks wherever appropriate. The following note was left on the fridge door. Write it out correctly using colons and commas and any other punctuation you think is necessary. Sumit, please buy the following from the hardware store: white paint, paint brushes, clothes, paint roller and tray, and also a scraper. Oh, and please don't forget a hammer. Can you also ask Kunal to collect these items from the cleaners? Dad's suit, my blue dress, and the red curtains. Hope you can manage all this between the two of you. Thanks, Mum. Vocabulary time. A. Write down synonyms and antonyms for the words. They are taken from the chapter. Word, synonym, antonym. Endangered, synonym, threatened, antonym, preserved. Extinct, synonym, abolished, antonym, extant. Vulnerable, synonym, susceptible, antonym, guarded. Exploitation, synonym, corruption, antonym, compassion. Crucial, synonym, central, antonym, trivial. Maternity, synonym, gestation, antonym, motherliness. Indigenous, synonym, domestic, antonym, unoriginal. Circle the word that is not a synonym of the word in bold print. 1. Outcome, consequence, desire, effect, result. Answer: desire. 2. Change, modify, alter, invent, transform. Answer: invent. 3. Protect, defend, destroy, guard, preserve. Answer: destroy. 4. Maintain, argue, state, confuse, believe. Answer: argue. 5. Wise, sensible, imaginary, prudent, judicious. Answer: imaginary.